Yeah, for this view, if you have a tendency to fall off track, if you're feeling a little bit stuck, if you're getting to a point where your motivation has started to dip a little bit, perhaps you're struggling to stay on top of discipline, and you want to feel a little bit more in control of your goal and the way you're going to reach your goal, the way you're working towards your goal. Um, and again, I guess if you want to maximize your results as well. So let's talk a little bit about mindset first of all, because mindset can be one of the hardest things to stay on top of. And mindset is a massive contributor towards us reaching our fitness goal. So as you'll see on the page, I've got like a little graphic here of, so this could be you right down here in the bottom, and then right at the top, that's your goal. It's like standing at the bottom of a mountain and you're looking up at the top of the mountain thinking, fuck, how the hell am I going to reach that? That's a really long way. So, as if you were going up towards a mountain, you're not just going to stand at the bottom and kind of guess your way through. You might do, but it might take longer. It might be a bit more of a tricky path. So, like anything, we're going to break this down. We're going to break it down into manageable chunks. And I guess the first few questions for all fitness goals is, and I guess any goal really, is like, why? What is your why? Why do you want to get where you want to go to? And where do you want to get to? So, for example, let's say, where do you want to be in 12 weeks' time? Why do you want to be there? What is important to you? Why is this so important to you? And what is currently holding you back at the moment that's preventing you to fulfill your goal? Once we've established that, we can break it down a little bit more and we can break it down into more manageable chunks. And you'll see that we have like our path starting to form to go up the mountain. We're going to take a steady approach. We're going to go up gradually and we're going to make it a lot more manageable than just coming right up the side. So let's start talking a little bit more about how we break that down into manageable chunks. If we break it down into a 12-week goal, it might be that perhaps you've got a longer term fitness goal to achieve. Perhaps you've got, let's say, a stone to lose. What I then recommend doing is breaking that down further into your weekly goals. So your weekly goals, as you'll see when we're talking on Monday mornings, we'll always ask about what are your 3 weekly goals. I tend to start thinking about these over the weekend or on a Sunday. And then so on the Monday morning that you can hit the ground running with them. And then I ask you again to reflect on them on the Sunday so that you can see how far you've come, if you've managed to stick to your goals, if you've managed to achieve your goals, and if not, why not? You need to reflect on it. And so you can start fresh the next Monday and you can either continue those goals, take them forward, or alternatively, you can break those goals down even further or change up the goals. Perhaps there was something that wasn't quite working, or perhaps the goal wasn't quite right. So when we're making our 3 goals, it's really important for them to be challenging for us, but not so challenging and not so stretching that they're unachievable. We want to make sure they're achievable so that you keep motivated and you keep up with your momentum and you stay on track. We also want to ensure that we can measure them and we want to make sure that they're realistic to you. Something that is, first of all, suitable for your larger goal. You should make up weekly smaller goals that are going to take you to your large goal. And you want to make sure that they're realistic to you and they're targeted towards your big goal. So that we can keep motivation, we can keep momentum, and we can make sure you're keeping going in the right direction. How do we go about setting them? So what I would always recommend doing, and even though it is Monday today, it is Monday today. So what I would always recommend doing, it's the same doing these on Saturday or Sunday, but you can do them today for the rest of this week. We've still got another 6 days. Establish what you struggle with most. So the most common things that particularly the girls on our online programs that struggle with, or the women, is food, having time because we're busy mums and we've got a lot going on, and then also getting the exercise in. So say for example, I know you, Tam, were saying you struggle with time, finding the time to get your exercise in. You need to then understand why it is that you're struggling with that. What is in the way that's preventing you to not have the time? And that's a matter of like looking at your schedule for the week, looking at breaking it down pretty much from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, looking at it hour by hour and seeing where you can pinch time from. You need to establish why you're struggling with the time element or why you're struggling with the food element or the exercise element, and then what you can do to overcome this. So, what I would say is keep a bit of a log, whether that be mental or written down, on the things that you're struggling with for this week. And then for next week, you can, if you've not already set them for goals this week, you can perhaps do that for next week. Just so that you can make a targeted approach to help you move forward to reach your goals. And I think most importantly, it's really hard to set goals if you're not remembering your why. So, like, why did you start this? What is it that's driving you towards reaching this goal? And I think it's really important for your why to be quite powerful, because the stronger your why, the more likely you are to stay on track and the more likely you are to drive towards your goal. So when it comes to you structuring your week, you need to, as I mentioned a moment ago, on the weekends, I normally would say, on Saturday or Sunday, sit down and plan your coming week. I know this can sound really boring and this can sound like a little bit too much of a control element on it, but it's something that's really important to do. If you're particularly struggling with time, yeah, completely keeping things consistent and simple, 100% agree. So if you're struggling with time, blocking the time out in your calendar. So I literally put everything in my Outlook calendar. Sorry, I keep tripping over my charger. I put everything in my Outlook calendar. Or you can do the same with Google Calendar, whatever you use. Literally from the minute you wake up, from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed, scheduling everything in. So like in my calendar, it's like get up, wake up, have a coffee, get ready, go do your workout, come back, get the girls ready for nursery, walk to nursery, start work. I put every bit of detail in there and I use that because it has reminders on it to be like, right, 15-minute reminder, you need to now go and get the girls ready to go and get ready for nursery. 15-minute reminder, you need to get ready to leave. So you've got that on your shoulder that's kind of driving you forwards and working with you. And if you can be disciplined enough to listen to that and stick to it, everything you schedule into your calendar gets done. What's the saying? Something like what gets measured gets done. Something along the lines of. But this is where it comes to your time. So you need to go, let's say you want to get 3 or 4 30, 45-minute workouts in a week. Out of I don't know how many, was it 185 hours maybe a week there are? Might be wrong. There's every chance you can get an hour and a half, 90 minutes to do workout. But you need to be assessing where you can pinch time from. And it can be hard because I know that as parents that we're quite dependent on. And but what you need to do is you need to be finding the pockets of time and scheduling them into your calendar and making them non-negotiable. Like you wouldn't miss an NHS appointment that you've been waiting for what, like 2 months. Like kind of see it as that. This isn't a forever thing. This is you trying to reach your fitness goal. And it's a matter of being really disciplined with yourself sometimes because your motivation isn't always going to be there. And I'd be lying to say that you will always be motivated. It's a matter of you sometimes pick it using discipline when the motivation is not there. And if you have it planned into and structured into your week, then it gives you the guidance and it takes the decision fatigue out of your thinking. What I'd also recommend doing when you're structuring your week is plan what journeys you can walk and plan what journeys you're going to take the car. So let's say for me, how I get my steps in, I'm just using myself as an example. I won't drive my girls to nursery. I'll walk to nursery. So for me, nursery is about a mile away. And so I know that if I walk there and back and then there and back, I know that's about 8,000 steps for me, maybe 7,000 steps for me. So that means I've only got say 3,000 to get for the rest of the day. So if I want to get to 10,000. So it's kind of figuring out where you can maximize your time by doing a job on a job and looking through your week thoroughly. So, say the days I don't walk the girls to nursery, I will schedule into my calendar to maybe reply to clients, or maybe if I've got a walk-in meeting, I'll do a phone meeting, I'll do that walk-in so that I'm getting my steps in whilst also doing another job. And it just maximizes your time. But it is a matter of going through your week and establishing where you can do that. Um, Putting your goals as well in visible places. So I know this helps a lot of the girls on the program. Put writing down your goals. So you've got your 3 goals for the week, writing them down, sticking them on your fridge, sticking them like on a cupboard, perhaps if you have a tendency to reach for like chocolate, biscuits, anything like that. Writing them down and sticking them on a cupboard is a really good way of reminding yourself not to have them, because it makes you double think. So when you go to the cupboard, you see your goals and you're like, oh fuck, maybe I shouldn't have that chocolate bar or something. And it's just almost like a trigger. Planning your meals, and I know Tam, you said that you have been doing that, or you've been making sure you're conscious about what you're buying online. I've written here, like online, buying your shopping online, because I don't know about you, but I have a tendency, if I go to a supermarket, I can't go in and buy one thing, 2 things. I can't stick to a shopping list. I see other things that I think, oh yeah, we need that at home, and I buy it above and beyond what I need. But that might just be me, but I find that shops are really persuasive and predictive in what you're going to buy. Um, so that's what I have to be mindful of. Yeah, so you went into the shop the other day. That was £20 more than our usual online shop. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's it. The supermarkets have seem to trap you into spending more. Like if you can do your shopping online, you've got kind of blinkers on to what offers are on. And when you go into the supermarket, at the end of every aisle, there's like chocolate, or there'll be like a Cadbury shelf. I know because I used to work for Cadbury's, and I used to literally be that person that goes into the shops and puts all of the chocolate out on the end to try and make you increase your purchase. Put it in the aisles, put it on the by the queue system. That used to be my job, to try and increase your purchase. So I know it's difficult in supermarkets. So if you can do your shopping online, it's a really good way to not only save money but also get better meals. So that's good. So you put your 3 workouts in your calendar. Perfect. And also the other thing you need to be looking at as well is events during the week. If you've got, summer seems to have a way of taking us off track, whether it be sun's out. It's literally started raining here as I'm talking, but sun's out, rosé comes out, the beer gardens look really appealing, and I'm a sucker for a cold pint of beer. I love it, and I know that it's easy to come off track. But what you need to be thinking about is, if you've got events during the week, where can you calorie bank? So calorie bank is essentially, say you're in a calorie deficit and you need to be in about 1,800 calories a day, is can you take 100 calories from each of those days and bank them up so you can use them in different places? Now, it's not to say you shouldn't necessarily do this every week all the time, but if you've got events coming up, see your daily calorie intake more as like a week-long period. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it. You need to establish as well where your weakness is, what your weakness is. So for me, I know that if I'm having a barbecue, if I'm going to a barbecue, I love crisps. I absolutely love crisps. I love picky, like anything that's on the table in front of me, I will demolish it all. I'm a big eater. I eat a lot. So if I'm going to an event, I need to think about how am I going to not eat quite as much. And the way I would do that is by, it sounds so silly, but like having a meal or having a protein shake before I go. So I'm not going starving. It curbs the hunger. And I'll either try and stand away, if it's like a table with food on it, I'll try and stand away from it. Or alternatively, like if it's on the table, I'll make sure I've gone relatively full and kind of just sit further away from it, because I will just eat it all. And I'm not saying that's bad. Like it's not bad to do that. But it's just, if you are in a calorie deficit and you do need to be mindful of what you're eating, it's just about how to establish how you're going to get over these hurdles. The other thing when it comes to structuring your week is set daily reminders and set daily reminders so that you can check in with yourself that you're on track. So whether that be you setting yourself a reminder at 12 o'clock for you to just spend 2 minutes reflecting over your day, thinking, have I stuck to my goals so far today? How are my 3 goals coming along this week? And the reason you do it is because, like, we start the morning pretty fired up and motivated, and then come the end of the day or come like the afternoon, we have a tendency to get a little bit more tired after lunchtime. Perhaps our blood sugar increases, then we get a little bit more sleepy. And then we hit the 3 o'clock slump, and the first thing we want to do is reach for a packet of biscuits. Then you have 1 biscuit, then you have 2 biscuits. Before you know it, you've eaten half the packet, you feel like crap, and you're feeling a bit shifty about not staying on track. Whereas if you set yourself a reminder for, say, the middle of the day, it resets your brain into thinking, oh, actually, yeah, I've got some goals to hit, and it gives you a boost to keep going through the day. So when it comes to structuring your week, you need to make a plan, write down your plan, schedule your workouts in, make them non-negotiable appointments, stick to the plan, and be disciplined. I don't know what time you wake up, pop in the chat what time you wake up. So I think if you wake up I wake up at 5, and I would say if you can, 6 a.m., fine, cool. And I would say if you can, waking up at 5 or 6 is a really good way of trying to get a morning workout in before you get up and go to work or you crack on with your day. And the way everybody's 4:30, geez, that's impressive. The way you go around waking up early, and the way this how I do it is, first of all, make sure you're not going to bed past 9, 10 p.m. You don't need to sit in front of the TV and watch that additional series of Love Island or whatever it is people watching nowadays. You don't need to do that. If you can get yourself to bed for about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or start getting ready for bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I sound like a grandma, I know, but it's really important for you to get your sleep, because ultimately your progress and your muscles are repairing when you're asleep. Sleep is just as important as the training side of things. The other thing you can do to improve the quality of your sleep, I know a lot of times, particularly mums, have really disrupted sleep. So if you eat one kiwi, an hour to 2 hours before you go to bed, it's got serotonin in. Serotonin turns into melatonin, which helps with your circadian rhythm and makes you have better quality sleep. And where possible, it will help you sleep for a little bit longer. I know if a waking baby cries you up, that's going to disrupt it, but it focuses on the quality of sleep. When it gets into the nighttime, start dimming the lights, putting your lights down a little bit lower, try and like avoid going on your phone too much. But also go for an evening walk, because that tells your brain the time of night is outside, the lightness tells your brain what time it is that you need to be, like, that it's wind down time, because the light's going down. To get yourself up at 5 o'clock, if you're going to aim to get yourself up at 5 o'clock, what I would say to you, Tam, if you're wanting to get up, change your pattern a little bit, set 3 alarms in the morning. If you are one of these people that hears your alarm and hits a snooze button, or if you're one of these people that will turn your alarm on and then turn it off, set 3 alarms, whether that be so for me, I set mine at 4:50, 4:55, 5. I 9 times out of 10 will get up at the 4:51, but if I don't, and if I press snooze on that one, then I've got one in 5 minutes to remind me to get up, and then the next one, and then before you know it, I've got alarms going off all different times, and if I don't get up, then it's just horrendous. Or put your phone the other side of the room, so when your alarm gets up, you get up and you walk across the room to turn it off. Put your exercise clothes on the floor, so the first thing you see, and that will give you a little bit of a nudge again to wake once you've woken up, get your exercise clothes on, then you have no option to not go and do your workout. You've got to make sure you're being driven with discipline and not relying on motivation, because motivation won't make you reach your fitness goals. It will give you a boost every so often, but it's discipline that's going to drive you through, and it's going to help you be accountable as well. So when it comes to your daily KPIs, as I call them, your short focus, you've essentially only got 4 things you need to focus on per day. That's all you need to focus on. First of all, getting 3 nutritious meals a day and breaking that down. If you can have taken the decision fatigue away by either planning your meals or like doing your online shop, knowing what meals you're going to have for dinners, lunches, and then also having a good idea of the breakdown of the protein. So everyone's proteins goal is very different based on what you're looking to achieve. But I would always say, as a rule of thumb, making sure you're getting at least 20 grams of protein for breakfast as a minimum. A guideline between like 30 and 40 for lunch and 30 and 40 for dinner as well, plus say 20 grams for snacks. That could be very different if you're looking to get a higher amount of protein in you. But if you want that information, if you need that information on how much protein you need to be eating to reach your fitness goals, then let me know and I can break that down for you and give you a guideline of what you need to be eating at what mealtime and how much you need to allow for snacks. Ways to get the food in you is keep it simple. There is no need to overcomplicate the food that you're eating. Absolutely not. Like it can sound quite boring, but if you're eating just meat, veg, and say rice or fish and salads, there is no reason that you need to overcomplicate your meals at all. If you want something a little bit like different, you can batch cook your food, freeze it, so at least then on a weekday you've got something to just chuck in the freezer, chuck in the oven and cook if you want like a hot meal. And I think the other thing, so you've got, first of all, 4 KPIs. First of all, your 3 nutritious meals. Number 2, making sure you're drinking 2.5 liters of water a day. If you forget to drink your water, if you're one of these people that doesn't consistently drink your water, I know that we have a lot of them. That's why you see me pop in the water thing. Then what I would recommend doing is either setting reminders or alarms through the day to remind you. You can hear my phone. There's a lot of reminders. I talk about them a lot. Alarms going off. Or buy one of those water bottles that's got the measurements on it, so that you can keep an eye on how much and track how much you're drinking. Number 3, exercise. You don't even have to do this every day. That's not something you have to do every day. Only 3 to 4 times a week. So just half of your week is you need to exercise, half the days. So that's one thing you might not even need to think about. You need to, like we say, schedule it into your week, prioritize it, organize with your partner, schedule it into your calendar. Make sure that they know the importance of it as well, so that you can stick to doing it and they can help you when you need them to either look after the kids or maybe do some other jobs to help you around the house so you can get your workout in. Remember, it's not always forever. And the last one, number 4, is your steps. So if you're doing it on the weekend, planning roughly when you can get the bulk of your steps in. Thinking about, can you walk instead of drive? Have you got walking pad? Can you do it in front of the TV when you're working on the phone? Can you walk to meetings instead of getting the tube? Or can you walk on your meetings if you're on a call or something? And I think the most important thing is your step goal realistic? If you're giving yourself a step goal of 10,000 calories, but 10,000 steps, but at the moment you're doing 4,000 steps, then that's not realistic. It's not realistic for you to hit 10,000 steps. I would say if you're currently doing say 4,000 steps a day, aim for 5,000. Then once you can comfortably hit 5,000, aim for 6,000. Don't try and give yourself a mammoth task of doing 10, 11, 12,000 steps a day if it's completely unrealistic to you, because it's just demotivating. It will just make you feel a little bit crap. So ultimately, there are only 3.5 things to be thinking about a day for you to reach your fitness goals. Nutritious meals, water, steps, and then exercise on some of the days. That's where your priority should be. And I think the main thing that I want you guys to be thinking about while you are working towards your fitness goal is asking yourself the question multiple times a day when you're making decisions. Will this push me closer towards my goal, or is it going to push me further away from my goal? We want to be making a series of decisions that are going to take you closer and closer and closer to your goal instead of pushing you further away. So I'm not saying to you, don't go out and enjoy a glass of wine. I'm not saying to you, don't go out and have a piece of cake or have a pastry with your coffee. Absolutely not. I would be a hypocrite if I did, because I love wine, I love coffee, I love going out and having a piece of cake. But what you need to be thinking about is, what does that mean to you? If you go out and have that, is that going to push you further away from your goal? Or do you feel like, do you know what? I've been doing pretty well this week. I'm on track for my calories. I've got a few extra. I've not got an event on this week. Why not? Like, you can't deprive yourself of everything, because then you're more inclined to fall off track. But ultimately, it's really important for you to keep making these thought processes of, is it going to push me closer towards my goal or push me further away? And I think it's one thing to bear in mind is, whilst it can seem, if you're on a calorie deficit, if you are new to exercising, if you have a goal that you're looking to work towards, I think it's really important for you to remember this isn't forever. You don't have to do this forever. The quicker you can do it, quicker you can get to your goal weights, the quicker you can get to aesthetics. If you then don't extend your goal further, then you've just got to maintain that. So the more effort, the more discipline you put in today, the quicker you'll get to your goals. And like, the less time you're going to have to be deliberating on over what you can and can't do. You need to start recognizing your strengths and play to them. Like, what are you good at and what do you need help with? What are your weaknesses? If your weakness, like me, is not being able to resist crisps in a bowl, one, don't buy crisps in the shop. Two, try and stand away from them at a barbecue or something. You need to be establishing where your weaknesses are and how you're going to hurdle over them so you can get over to the other side. Discipline beats motivation every single day of the week. Discipline is so much stronger and more important than motivation. Motivation is a mood, it's a feeling. It will come and it will go. If you can be disciplined through the week, that's what's going to drive you to reaching your fitness goal. And ultimately, you need to be thinking about it like it's like pushing a boulder up a hill. And momentum is essential. If you're trying to push a boulder up the hill and you get to a point, you're like, oh, this is a little bit heavy, this is hard work. You step away from that boulder, that's just going to roll back down that hill. But if you hold it there and you think, yeah, this is a little bit hard work, but you know you can either hold it there and stay static, or you can just slowly, slowly keep pushing it up, then you're going to be going closer towards your goal. Momentum is essential when it comes to reaching your fitness goal. And if you lose momentum, it is so much harder to get back on track. So even if you can't be sprinting towards your goal at the moment, keep slowly walking towards it, because it's much easier to pick up pace when you're already moving than it is from standing still. You've got to embrace the effort that you put in today to enjoy the results tomorrow. So I have yabbed on now for a solid maybe 30 minutes. I'm not too sure, long enough time. But have you got any questions or anything on this? Otherwise, I will let you guys go and have a nice evening. No? Cool. Thank you, guys. And thank you all. And hopefully we'll see you soon. You are very welcome. And I will see you soon.